Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Magic. Today we're going to talk about a truly extraordinary moment, when BTS finally arrived at the National Palace alongside President Claudia Sheinbaum, just hours before their big concert began in Mexico. This wasn't just an ordinary visit. It was a meeting of history, pride, and the overwhelming love of ARMY. From the very beginning, the atmosphere at the Zócalo already felt different. Thousands, perhaps even hundreds of thousands, of fans filled every corner of the iconic square, creating an ocean of light from their shimmering light sticks, like stars in the night sky. The energy was incredibly powerful, grand, emotional, and almost impossible to put into words. This wasn't just about a concert. It was about a reunion between BTS and the love that had been waiting for them for so long. As BTS's motorcade entered the National Palace area under tight security, the atmosphere instantly shifted into one of anticipation. Cameras sparkled from every direction. The sound of cheers filled the air, and every second felt like something monumental was about to happen. Even before the members were clearly visible, a wave of emotion had already swept through the entire area. And then the moment finally came, when all 7 BTS members appeared on the palace balcony overlooking the Zócalo. The atmosphere erupted into an overwhelming explosion of emotion. ARMY's cheers echoed throughout the city, loud, yet filled with warmth. Some members immediately lifted their phones, capturing a view they might never forget, an ocean of people who came just for them. Others paused quietly, smiling in awe, as if trying to absorb every second of the moment. The sea of shimmering light sticks looked like the sky had descended to earth, blending with chants that never stopped. The members' soft laughter could be heard at times, and their expressions of disbelief were clear. Even for artists accustomed to massive stages, this moment still felt special. But behind all the grandeur, ARMY's attention was drawn to something more subtle, more personal: the interaction between Jimin and Jungkook. Amid the crowd and the spotlight, it was the small details that became the center of attention. At first, Jungkook was seen standing with J-Hope and Jimin, but almost unnoticed, moments later he had returned to Jimin's side. The movement felt so natural, as if it wasn't a conscious decision but simply a habit. Jimin stood with his signature warm smile, waving gently to fans. Meanwhile, Jungkook responded to ARMY's cheers with finger hearts, his expression bright and full of energy. His laughter rang out clearly, creating a light and joyful atmosphere. On the other hand, Jimin's smile felt sincere all the way to his eyes, as if he was truly feeling every bit of love from the fans. There was a moment when Jimin paused, gazing at the sea of light before him, as if he wanted to hold that view in his memory forever. And at that same moment, Jungkook slowly moved closer to him. A simple gesture, yet full of meaning, as if there was an instinct that always brought him back to the same place. The more you watched, the more a subtle pattern became impossible to ignore. While other members stood in their respective positions, Jimin and Jungkook always seemed to find a way to stay close. There were no grand or dramatic gestures, and that was exactly where the beauty lay, in a closeness that felt completely natural. One of the most eye-catching moments was when Jungkook tried to change positions. He briefly spoke with J-Hope while glancing elsewhere. Since his path was blocked by staff and cameramen, he didn't move directly, but instead chose to circle around behind the other members. It was all done casually, but the intention was clear: to be closer to Jimin again. At one point, he even seemed to slightly shift RM's position to make space. A small gesture that might seem trivial, but to fans it felt warm. Some also noticed how Jungkook's hand was occasionally positioned behind Jimin, as if giving him space while also quietly watching over him in the crowd. Meanwhile, Jimin stepped forward to the balcony, railing several times to get a closer look at ARMY. He clearly enjoyed the moment, yet Jungkook never strayed far. Even when Namjoon began speaking, the two still stood close, occasionally sharing small laughs amid the roaring cheers. Namjoon opened the moment with a warm greeting and words of thanks to Mexico, which were met with thunderous applause. Taehyung followed with his relaxed style, admitting he wasn't very fluent in Spanish but still expressing how much BTS missed Mexico. His light humor eased the atmosphere, bringing laughter into the flow of emotions. Jimin also shared the moment through his Instagram story. A small clip of the meaningful sea of light. All the members seemed to savor every second, absorbing the endless energy from ARMY. As it neared the end, Jimin turned around and waved, followed by the other members. Even though it only lasted a few minutes, the balcony moment felt incredibly powerful, filled with warmth, happiness, and deep emotion. But the story doesn't end there. Compared to earlier moments, especially in El Paso, there was something noticeably different. Freer, lighter, and more honest. As if there were no longer any boundaries holding them back from expressing themselves. In El Paso, there was a moment when Jimin sang lyrics about calling someone in the quiet of the night, and he pointed directly at Jungkook. It wasn't just a simple gesture. It felt deeply personal. Jungkook responded with his signature soft smile, one that didn't feel staged. There was also a moment when Jungkook watched Jimin dance. His gaze was focused, undistracted, as if there was only one person in front of him. The smile that appeared wasn't just a reaction, but something deeper, a quiet sense of pride. Then, in a moment that felt incredibly intimate, Jimin glanced first, as if everything was already understood without words. He placed his hand on Jungkook's lap so naturally. There was no hesitation, no awkwardness, just comfort. Jungkook's protective side was also clearly visible. When he felt the camera wasn't capturing Jimin well, he immediately acted. No words, no attempt to draw attention, just a small, sincere gesture. And of course, there was the playful moment that left a lasting impression, when Jungkook caught Jimin's fake tears and placed them on himself. A light interaction, yet full of warmth. Moments like this only happen when two people truly understand each other. El Paso felt like a small window into something more real. Unscripted laughter, unforced touches, and a connection that felt genuine. From the balcony of the National Palace to the warm moments in El Paso, everything felt like one connected story, about togetherness, comfort, and a bond that doesn't need many words to be understood. Because in the end, it's not the grand spotlight that lingers the most, but the small details that feel real. What do you think? Are these all just coincidences? Or is there something deeper between them? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Jikook Magic to keep up with more special moments. See you in the next video.